Welcome to another class session. Today we are taking another topic in our beloved topic, economics, in our beloved subject, economics. And today we'll be looking at a very important topic. It centers around satisfaction, and it centers around human behavior towards satisfaction. And therefore we'll be looking at a very popular topic, very popular one, we call theory of consumer behavior. Theory of consumer behavior. Now the thing centers around consumer behavior. What is the basic point of concentration on the consumer behavior? The main thing consumer behavior talks about is utility. And what is utility? Utility centers around the satisfaction we derive from the consumption of various goods and services. Now, so there is a need to know the meaning of utility. This can be defined as the satisfaction derived from the consumption of goods and services. Now, looking at utility, it is telling us the satisfaction we derive from what? From consuming various goods and services. Now, this brings us to the fact that utility can have various types. Is that not it? So we move on to the types of utility. Types of utility. Number one, we have what we call the form utility. Form utility. Number two, we have the time utility. Number three, we have the place utility. Now, let us consider these three types. I'm taking a look at the first one, the form utility. Now, form utility is just a satisfaction you derive from consuming the product itself. Now, take a look at this marker. The satisfaction I'm deriving from using this marker directly is what I call the form utility. So the form is just talking about the product you are using. That's the product. So the product has this capacity or this capability of what? Of giving you a particular satisfaction, which is what? The form utility. Now, taking a look at the next one, which is what? The time utility. Now, time utility, it is ascribed or it is ascertained with the time factor. Now, a good example, let's take the marker again. Now, I need this marker at a particular period in time. If I get that marker at that period in time, then I'm getting what? The time utility. Now, if I've gotten it at that period of time, it's giving me time utility. But if I get it and when I'm using it, I don't like it, that means the form utility is 0. You can see how it is. So you can have a particular commodity that can have a time utility, but does not have a what? A form utility. Now, place utility. Now, we talked about you getting it at a particular period in time. Now, what about the place utility? It means that this centers around the goods. If you could remember vividly about production, we said production is not completed until the goods are within the reach of the final consumer. Is that not it? So if the goods are within the reach of the final consumer, that simply means that the producer is trying to give us a what? A place utility. Meaning the what? The closer the goods are to the consumers. So that gives us what? The place utility. So if you are nearer to the goods that you need, or the goods are closer to you, it means that that particular commodity has a what? A place utility. Okay? Good. So a good can have a place utility. It can have a time utility, but it may not necessarily have what? A form utility. Now, this brings us to the what? To the classification of utility. Now, taking a look at the block classification of utility, it can be classified into two parts. The first part is the ordinal utility, and the second part is the cardinal utility. Now, we all agree that utility simply means satisfaction derived. So let's say somebody gives you a blow. The person derives a particular satisfaction from what? From launching a blow on you. Is that not it? Now, let us see that satisfaction. Okay, let us see the broad classifications of it. Now, this brings us to ordinal and cardinal. Now, what is ordinal and what is cardinal? Now, these are just theories of utility, or these are just various ways in which utility can be measured, or in which people can see utility. Now, the ordinal view or the ordinal utility is just telling us that utility can be ranked and not measured. Now, look at this. Utility can be ranked and not measured. Now, let's come here. Let's take a look at ranking. When you take a look at ranking, every place or every organization has what you call ranking. Is that not it? Ranking just moves from high, medium, low. Is that not it? So it means ranking is just telling you how high or how low, okay, or how in between something is. For instance, if you go into the school line, you can have grade A, very good grade, right? You can have grade B, you can have grade C. Is that not it? Now, in our preliminaries, which is the primaries, you can have something like the first position, the second position, the third position, fourth position, and so on and so forth. Now, it means that this is just telling you the ranking of how these positions are. So it means that when someone is the first, you know this is the what? The person is ranked to be the first. If somebody is the second, it means the person is ranked to be the second in his academic performance. So therefore, when we talk about ordinal, ordinal goes with what? Ranking. Now, let's take a look at cardinal utility. The cardinal utility does not rank, but actually it measures. Now, this is it. Cardinal, it measures utility in numerical terms called utils. It measures utility in numerical terms called utils. Now, take note of this word, the utils. Now, what do we mean by utils? For instance, if I should consume, let's come back here. If I should consume a particular commodity, say bread. Now, cardinal is telling me that if I should consume one loaf of bread, my utility is the one loaf. That is, the satisfaction is one. If I should go additional 2 loaves of bread, cardinal tells me that my satisfaction is 2 loaves. Okay? So cardinal is taken at the numerical terms, which is the one. It's just telling you how much of goods you are consuming, the numerical numbers. It is. We can also say it is what? It is quantitative. It is quantitative. So we can see, so anything quantitative is what? Quantity. So this is just telling us that the numerical items of what you are consuming, that brings us to what? To cardinal utility. Now, if we take a look at the cardinal utility, it is broadly classified into 3 items. So we can, into the first one, we have the total utility. The second one, we have the average utility. The third one, we have the marginal utility. Now, so under cardinal, we have what? Total utility, average utility, and then marginal utility. Now, we are going to see all what these three things means. Now, before we proceed, let's come to the ordinal. If cardinal is giving us total, average, and marginal, what then does the ordinal tool uses? Very simple. The tool or the classification of the ordinal utility is just one tool. So we can have this, which we call the tool the indifference curve. The indifference curve. And we can also say the budget line. We can also say the what? The budget line. So it means that if you should see a question like, what are the tools that is used by the cardinal utility approach? You should know that the tools that are used are what? The total utility, the average utility, and the marginal what? Utility. Then what are the use that are used by the ordinal utility? There are just two, the indifference curve and then the budget line. Most of the time, the indifference curve is the most important factor here. So therefore, we can just say indifference curve. But in addition, you can have what? The budget line. So let's take cardinal approach and let us see how this thing relates with each other. So we can rub up the example part. Now, so taking the total utility, don't forget this is under the ordinal utility approach, the cardinal utility approach. Now, the total utility, what does it measure? Very simple. This measures the total satisfaction derived from consuming a particular product. So we can see, what does it measure? It measures, the key word here is what? The total. The total. It measures the total satisfaction that is what? That is derived from consuming what? A particular product. Now, what then is the formula? So total utility, we can represent it as what? As the TU. So having my TU, we can have TU equals to AU multiplied by Q. So therefore, AU here means average utility and Q means what? Quantity. So we can just put it here where Q equals quantity. Or we can just say quantity consumed. All right. Now we move on to the average utility. Now, what does the average utility measures? Let's write that down. This measures the total utility per unit of quantity consumed. So therefore, AU will be equals to TU divided by Q. Okay? So what does this measure? It measures the total utility, okay, per unit of what? Per unit of quantity consumed. Meaning the satisfaction you derive from consuming one commodity or one unit of a particular commodity, that gives us what? The average. For instance, let's say I consume 10 packs of Indomie. 10 packs of Indomie. Now, if I have 10 packs, let me write down here. 10 packs, that is 1, 2, no. All this Indomie, like up to 10. Now, if I consume one, okay, I'm getting a satisfaction from the one. I consume another one, satisfaction. Another, up to the 10th one, satisfaction. But if economists want to measure, or if utilitarians or people that study utility, they want to measure the utility that is being consumed by, or that's being consumed unitly or averagely. What they do is this: they will just consider per one that you consume, what is that satisfaction? For instance, up to this level, I've consumed 4. Now, I am not interested in the 4. I'm not even interested in the 3 that you've consumed. I'm only interested in what? In the satisfaction you derive when you consume only 1 Indomie. So when you look at that, or when you look at that satisfaction that you derive from consuming just 1, then you can now say this is what? Your average utility. That is why you divide the total by the quantity consumed. Now, we take the third one. Marginal utility. This measures the additional satisfaction derived from consuming additional units of a commodity. Now, you will observe that mostly in some few topics in economics, you will come across some things like total, average, and then marginal. When you were doing production, you came across the total product, average product, and marginal product. When you were doing cost, you came across this again. And now we are doing utility, and we are coming across this again. So, marginal utility, this measures the additional satisfaction you derive from consuming an additional unit of a particular commodity. All right. Okay. Now, let me explain the marginal utility. Let's say when I consume one commodity, I am getting 300 as my satisfaction. When I consume the second one, I am getting 600 as my satisfaction. When I'm consuming the third one, I am getting 900 as the satisfaction. Now, what then is the marginal utility? We can see that as I increase the commodity consumed, my satisfaction also increased. Now, the thing here is, if I should just minus this, then it gives me the what? The marginal utility, which is the additional satisfaction. So, before I was getting what? 300. Now that I have the second one, I have gained 300. I've gained what? 600. That means I've gained 300 more. So it means that 300 more is called my what? My marginal utility. Now, between this one and this one, I have gained how many more? Still 300 more. Okay? So the marginal utility is just measuring the additional satisfaction you derive from consuming an additional unit of a commodity. Okay. So the formula for marginal utility, we can call this, if this is AU, definitely we can call this MU. So my MU will be equals to change in TU divided by change in quantity consumed. Where this triangle sign I have here signifies change. It signifies change. All right. Now, so we've seen the various concepts of the cardinal utility. Now, we've seen them in theories, right? Now, let us see them in what? In mathematical aspect and then the graphical approach. Hope you are ready? Good. So let's take this one out. Mathematical approach to utility. Now, so seeing that we have the total utility, average utility, and marginal utility, so therefore we are going to be having a table. So this is my quantity consumed. So therefore we know they are in units. Then we'll be having my total utility. Average utility. So my average utility, which is AU, the formula is TU divided by quantity consumed. Then my marginal utility, is change in TU divided by change in quantity. So when solving, we can know how we arrived at what? At the figures. All right. So now having this, so my quantity consumed, let's make them 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then my total utility, okay, utility. Now my total utility, let's have here. So since the quantity consumed is 0, definitely here will also be 0. Okay? So you can have here to be 10, 25, 40, 68, 90, 80. So my average utility. So sometimes in a particular question, what they do is they give you this. They give you something like this. Though, for Jamb, what they do is they don't write this. Okay, they don't write this. They will just write a particular question and they will say, ascertain the average utility for the third and fourth product. That's all. Or they can say, ascertain the marginal utility for the fifth and sixth product. Okay, so that's how they set it. And sometimes they give you the whole data while they leave some space out. Okay, all the same, very simple. Now, so how do we ascertain the average utility? Now we can see that at the first point, 0, no commodity is consumed. So definitely we have no total utility. So since there is no total utility, my average utility will be what? Infinite. So we represent it as dash. We can see, following this formula, TU divided by Q, that will be 0 divided by 0, and that's what? Infinite. That's dash. Now we take the next point, which is what? 10 divided by 1. We are following the formula. TU divided by Q. This is my TU and this is my Q. So 10 divided by 1, we have 10. I hope you have your calculator ready. Now, for the second one, 25 divided by 2, that should give us 12.5. Then for the third one, 40 divided by 3. That is 13.3. So this is the formula we are using, okay? TU divided by Q. So we are going to follow it at each levels. At the first level, we say 10 divided by 1. At the second level, we say 25 divided by 2. At the third level, we say 40 divided by 3. Now, at the fourth level, we are going to be saying 68 divided by 4. And that gives us 17. 90 divided by 5. That gives us 18. Then 80 divided by 6. That gives us 13.3. So now we can see. So this is the average utility. So let's see how we can ascertain the marginal utility. So for the marginal, I think I'm going to write this one out.